And we talked a lot about approach leading up to this game in practice, and then the day of the game and shoot around. It was really important to me. That was our number one key, is that we had the correct approach, that we respected our opponent, that we respected the game, that we're not only competing against Eastern New Mexico, but we're competing against future opponents. And I was, for the most part, pretty pleased with them adopting that mantra and having the right frame of mind, both at shoot around and in warm-ups. And then, for the most part, I thought we did what we needed to do to get the win.
Obviously, I think the story that fans are going to take from this game is Johnny coming back. Huge ovation when he got back in the game. I guess, like, when did you guys find out that he could come back this soon? Because it seemed like, January and we kind of thought maybe December. But when did you guys find out he could come back this week?
Well, originally it was, best case was about January 1st. Worst case, he was done for the season, and then they put him in the cast. And I think after 8 weeks, he looked at it, and it was basically a deal where it's all if he's a good healer or not, kind of luck of the draw. And fortunately for us and our fan base, he was. And so they put him in a boot instead of recasting him, and he kind of got ahead of the schedule then. And then, I don't know, a few weeks ago they said, hey, he's doing great, and doctors are going to clear him for non-contact. So he's been getting some court work, just non-contact drills. He's never been in our contact practice, but he's shooting on his own and doing some conditioning on his own. And then late last week they said that Monday he'd be cleared for full contact. And, I talked to the doctors and the trainers and basically said, from our perspective, he's cleared and ready to go. It's just a matter of if you want to play him, and Johnny's mentally ready to go. So Johnny and I talked today, and, I said, hey, I'm good either way. If you're ready mentally and you've been cleared physically and you're ready to play, let's go. If not, we got a week before our next one, and we can get some more full contact practices. And he was, nah, Coach, I'm ready. I'm ready to play. And so, but yeah, obviously we're very lucky and fortunate to get him back earlier than expected, and I'm sure it was great for the fans to see him out there. I know I loved having him out there, and it was pretty evident that how much he brings to our team.
Yeah, it kind of looked like the Johnny of old out there too, just pretty picked off from last year. I know he said that he wants to really improve in rebounding. He wants to be like Jamario Jones. Like, where's kind of like the biggest improvement you wanted to see from his freshman to his sophomore year?
Yeah, if he can rebound like Jamario Jones, I'm all for it. But I just want him to be Johnny. Be the best version of Johnny, and that'll be good enough. As a second-year player, I had talked about him, last summer of how much better he had gotten. And obviously he came out and I think his first points were a three-point basket, which I don't think he made one last year, so that was kind of odd. But he'd worked really hard at it. And he was shooting the ball well in Spain, and then very disappointing for him and for us that he got hurt. But the thing I like about Johnny the most is he does the things you can't teach. He just is a dynamic player, and he can change the game with a momentum swinging dunk or a block shot that turns into, offense on the other end. And we don't have a ton of guys like that, but he leads the pack when it comes to making dynamic plays. And so it's really good to see him back. Hopefully, he'll have really good practices leading up to the stretch of games that start next Wednesday.
AJ, I'm assuming just kind of a precaution, just because he hurt his knee on Saturday. Did you just keep him out for precaution?
Yeah, I think it ended up being an ankle sprain. He's got a minor ankle sprain. I think if he had to play him, I think he probably could have, but we decided to shut him down in both the shoot around and the game, obviously. But he didn't practice. He did some light running and some shooting, but he didn't practice all week. And we have a whole week now before our next stretch of games coming up. So we just shut him down for the night.
And Keon, I don't know if you know as of right now yet.
I asked him in the locker room, and because I thought it was his ankle the way he was limping off the floor, but apparently he bumped knees, which I think is probably better than an ankle. And he was putting a little weight on it. He had already had it iced up, and I'm sure he'll be for a while to try to get the swelling out of it. But I can't imagine, just from looking at it and talking to him, that he won't be fine here in the next few days.
Kind of mentioned too on Monday, this is the type of game where you're hoping to get some guys some more playing time. Barrett Jean-Louis probably hasn't got the playing time he's wanted to as a freshman early in the year. Obviously, there's a transition when you're coming from high school to Division I. What did you see from him tonight? Maybe some things he needs to do to get some more minutes as a freshman.
I thought he looked good out there. I thought he looked good. Just from the jump, he's got the I factor. He's got the big body, and he's put together, he's body ready, and he's obviously very bouncy. He had a nice dunk or two at least one, maybe two. But I mean, them are just baby steps compared to what he does in practice some days. And he's really worked on his jump shot. That was kind of the book on him, is he couldn't shoot the ball. And he had a lot of ability and athletic ability, but he didn't shoot the ball. He's worked as hard as anybody we've had and consistently working on his jump shot. And I feel good about it when he shoots the ball now. So I'm happy for him. I'm proud of, how he's kept his nose to the grindstone and kept working. And it was a great opportunity, like you said, to give him some real minutes in front of a crowd. And I thought he played well. And he just got to continue to get better, and I think he will. And, who knows, in terms of our rotation, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of guys. But, I thought he made a step in the right direction.
I know, kind of mentioned too, like going forward, you don't have a game for a week, so you kind of want to work on yourselves a little bit next couple days. What are some areas you do want to see improvement in?
We just talked about it with our team. We're going to enjoy tomorrow. We're off tomorrow. Obviously, we all in our program have a lot to be thankful for. We're going to spend the day with each other. The majority of the day, not the whole day, but with some match they could stay overnight. I'm like, I'm drawing the line there. But we're gonna eat Thanksgiving together, and it'll be fun to just be humans. We don't get to do that often. It's always basketball related, and I think it'll be good for all of us to do that. And then we're gonna get back to work Friday. And yeah, I'm like every other coach. I mean, I love the fact that we're going to have some practices in the near future where we're not going to be concerned about a scout. We're not going to have a scout team. It's going to be like October again. We're going to practice NMSU versus NMSU, and we're going to fly around and try to get better and work on our weaknesses, et cetera. But the thing I said is the one thing that I'm disappointed with is I don't think our identity is defense. I think our rebounding's pretty good. At least the numbers say that. But our initial pass defense, our first pass defense, we're not contesting shots. We're not getting into the ball. We're just not as nasty as we were last year, and we're going to certainly address that this weekend. And at the end of the day, like I said, we've scored 93 times, and that's really not who we are. And trust me, if we can score 90 points every game, I'm not going to hold us back, and it's great. But we're going to have to be able to beat teams by having defensive rebounding in our back pocket, and that's not there yet. So we're going to work on that and try to reclaim our identity a little bit over the weekend.